Good day everyone, especially to you Sir Robert Warisa. Good day po. So today we're going to discuss our assigned topic. But before that, allow me to introduce my co-discussant. We have Mr. Benji Gonzaga, Ms. Gregorio Morel, Ms. Bayami Garcia, and yours truly, Grizamel Laurenti. Our group are assigned to discuss the assessment in affective domain. Affective domain describes learning objectives that emphasize a feeling tone, an emotion, or a degree of acceptance or rejections. So, most people think of learning as an intellectual or mental function. However, learning is not just a cognitive function. We can also learn by attitudes, behavior, and physical skills. In our previous subjects, if I'm not mistaken, ADOC 4 or ADOC 3, there are three domains of learning had already introduced to us. The cognitive domain, the psychomotor, and the affective domain. So, when we say cognitive domain, it is all about our knowledge. The psychomotor is about the skills, and the affective domain is all about our attitude. So the affective domain involves our feelings, emotions, and attitudes. This domain includes the manner in which we deal with things emotionally, such as feelings, values, appreciation, enthusiasm, motivation, and attitude. So the next one is the David Catwall taxonomy of affective domain. This domain forms a hierarchical structure and is arranged from simpler feelings to those who are complex. From receiving to responding, followed by valuing, organization, and characterization. This hierarchical structure is based on the principle of internalization. Internalization refers to the process whereby your affect towards something goes from a general awareness label to a point where the affect is internalized and consistently guide or control our behavior. Therefore, with the movement of more complexity, we become more involved, committed, and internally motivated. Effective learning competencies. Instructional objectives, specific, measurable, short-term, observable student behavior. Foundation upon which you can build lessons and assessment that you can prove to meet your overall course or lesson goals. Ensures that learning is focused clearly enough that both students and teachers know what is going on, and so learning can be objectively measured. Effective learning competencies. In doing effective learning competencies, your instructional objective must be SMART, the specific, the measurable, attainable, reliable, and time-bounded, in order to meet the learning competencies. So the next one is the quantitative terms used in affective domain. The receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization. So the first one is the receiving. Receiving involves passively paying attention and being aware of existence of certain ideas, materials, or phenomena. Receiving is the lowest label of the affective domain. It is simply the awareness of feelings and emotions. Without this label, no learning can occur or happen. If the information you deliver is never received, and then this cannot be remembered. For example, listening attentively to someone who is talking. So, if you are listening attentively to someone which is talking, who are talking, means you are paying attention in order to receive what he or she delivered. And the next one is the responding. Responding, this label involves actively participating in the learning process. The student is not only aware of a stimulus, but they react or respond on it in some way. So, this responding means it is giving reaction or response to what you have received. For example, having a conversation or participating in a group discussion. If we have a conversation, we are responding to what we receive. We are showing reaction or response to a certain ideas or message we heard or we received. Then the third one is the valuing. Valuing is the ability to see the worth of something and express it. Valuing concern with the worth you attach to a particular object, phenomena, behavior, or piece of information. This label ranges from simplest acceptance to the more complex state of commitment. For example, proposing a plan to improve team skills. So, simpler acceptance is if you desire for your team to improve its skills, and while the more complex that it includes commitment. You are taking responsibility for the overall improvement of your team. So the next one is the organizing. Organizing, it involves putting together different values, informations, and ideas, then relating them to already held beliefs to bring it into an internally consistent philosophy. It is the ability to prioritize one value over another and create a unique value system. The focus of this label is comparing, relating, and assessing values to create that unique value system. For example, spending more time studying than playing. So, you are prioritizing your study than your playing. So, the next one is the recognizing the needs for balance between work and family. And the last one is the prioritizing time effectively to meet goals. The last one is the characterizing. Characterizing is the highest of the affective domain. It is about internalizing values. It means acting consistently in accordance with the set of values you have internalized and your characterization about life. You internalize value and let them control or guide your behavior. For example, you spend time with your family. You make friends based on personality, not looks. And characterizing is that applying what you've internalized values or applying what you've learned and let it guide you or control your character and behavior as an individual.
Good day everyone, I will continue our assigned topic and my topic is all about attitude, values, behavior, and motivation. So now let's talk about what is attitudes. So attitudes is a mental predisposition to act that is expressed by evaluating a particular entity with some degree or favor or disfavor. Attitudes also refers to a person's mental view regarding the way he or she thinks or feels about someone or something. It can be primarily negative and positive. So as a teacher, we must take a positive attitudes. Isn't a wasting time guilt or criticizing the place where we develop classes. And as a teacher also, we must have a clear idea when we teach to know the life quality of the students in order to plan and develop the activities that don't require expensive materials. So let's proceed to our next topic, which is all about values. So when we say values, it is generally refers to a mental orientation towards concepts. So also values is pertaining to mind principles or moral ethics or standards of behavior. So it is related to behavior. And we have the best examples for values, and that's what we call respect. When we say respect, treating others the same way you want to be treated. When you give respect, you will gain more respect. 4 affective components of attitude. First, we have the cognition. Second, affect. Third is behavioral intention. Fourth is the evaluation. Number 1 is cognitions. So, it is a statement of beliefs and expectations which vary from one individual to the next. Example for this is, I like this car because I can save more money and petroleum. The next one is the affect. It refers to the feelings with respect to the focal objective. For example for this is, I like this car because it gives me pleasure or happiness. For the third one is behavioral intentions. Our goals and aspiration are expected responses to the attitude object. So for the example of this is, I like this car because I felt comfortable while driving. And for the fourth one or last one is the evaluation. It is a central component of attitude. The best example for this is the self-evaluation, because as a person sometimes we are aware about our strengths and weaknesses, which enables for us to deal with emotions more easily. So why do we need to study attitudes? Attitude is influenced the way person acts and think in social communities we belong. They can function as frameworks or references for forming conclusion or interpreting or acting for or against an individual, a concept or an idea. It influences behavior. People will behave in ways consistent with their attitudes. It's simply because we need to study attitude because there are so many factors influencing attitude in information. Number one is experiencing or observing through other people in specific environment. So let's proceed to our next topic, which is the motivation. A reason or set of reasons of engaging in a particular behavior. The reasons include basic needs, object, goal, state of being, ideal that is desirable. Motivation also refers to the initiation, direction, and intensity and persistence of human behavior. As a student, we need motivation to keep going and keep chasing our dream. So on this slide, we have the theories in motivation presented by Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of human needs theory and the most widely discussed theory of motivation. For the self-fulfillment needs, it is a self-actualization, achieving one's potential, including recreative activities. And for the psychological needs, we have the self-esteem needs, which means a prestige and feeling and accomplishment. And belongingness and love needs is intimate relationship or friends. And for the basic needs, the safety needs is the security and the safety of welfare. And for the psychological needs, it's the food, water, warmth, and rest. So we have here the Herbert's two-factor theory, the motivators and the hygiene factors. So Frederick Herbert present another need theory, the two-factor theory. The motivational hygiene theory, it concludes that a certain factor in the workplace result in job satisfaction, why others do not, but if absent lead to dissatisfaction, which is true. So the motivators are the work itself, the autonomy, the authority and responsibility and recognition, and the last one is the achievement. And for the hygiene factors is relationship, job opportunity, work condition, salary, and wages. So this theory says that the basic factors like safety and salary need to be met to prevent dissatisfaction at work. But another set of higher order motivating factors like autonomy and recognition are required to create actual happiness at work. That will be all for my assigned topic. Thank you and God bless.
Good day everyone, especially to you Sir Robert Waraza. I will continue the report of Master Benji. So, my assigned topic, it is all about the theory of Clayton-Alderfer. There are three types of Clayton-Alderfer needs formulated: the growth needs, the related needs, and the existence needs. When we say growth needs, it is it is also a desire to grow as an individual, or it is original theory that a person has to fulfill her deficiency needs before she can move on to the fulfilling growth needs. When we say also related needs, it is encompass social and external STEM or relationships with a significance, others like family, friends, co-workers, and employees. The last needs, it is existence needs. When we say existence needs, it is a concern of our basic materials requirements for living. For example of existence needs is foods, waters, air, clothes, safety, physical, love, and affections. The example of a growth needs, it is an artist that has satisfied of all of his lower level needs will feel that the needs to do whatever it takes to reach his fulfillment potentials as an artist. For example of the related needs, it is a relationship of our family, our friends, and co-workers. So why we as students, why we motivate students? The first one is it can direct behavior towards particular level or goal. The second one is to lead to increase effort and energy. The third one is to enhance the cognitive processing and to determine what consequences and reinforcing and lead to improved performance. There are the two kinds of motivation, the intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. When we say intrinsic motivation, ito po ay nagdudulot ng kasiyahan o nagpapadama sa mga tao na ang kanilang natutuhan ay mahalaga. Example is going for a run because you find it that the relaxing or are trying to beat a personal record. What is extrinsic motivation? When we say extrinsic motivation, it is dumarating sa isang mag-aaral na napilitang gumawa ng isang bagay dahil sa mga salik na panlabas sa kanya. The example of extrinsic is going for a run to increase your chances of winning of a competition. Self-efficacy versus self-esteem. When we say self-efficacy, ito po ay nauugnayan sa pag-uunawa ng isang tao sa kanyang kakayahan upang maabot ang isang layunin. Example of efficacy is students with high academic self-efficacies might study harder because they believe that they are able to use their abilities to study effectively. Self-esteem, nag-uugnay sa pagpapahalaga sa sarili ng isang tao. Example of this is a realistic in your expectations is highly to be overcritical of yourself and others. Confident in your ability to make decisions. When we say self-esteem, sa'yo po nanggagaling kung ano ang isang bagay, kung ano ang isang bagay na isang realistiko sa isang desisyon. Development of assessment tools, assessment standards, tools. Number 1, self-report. When we say self-report, ito po ay pinakakaraniwang ginagamit, mahalagang nangangailangan ng isang individual na namabigyan ng isang accountang ng kanyang saloobin o damdamin sa isang konsepto o ideya ng mga tao. When we say rating skills, ito po ay tumutukoy sa isang hanay ng disenyo na kategorya upang makuha ng impormasyon tungkol sa isang quantitative na katangian sa agham panlipunan. When we say semantic differential, ito po ay sinusubukang i-access or i-accessa ang isang individual na reaksyon sa mga particular na salita na mga ideya o konsepto sa mga termino o nating mga bipolar skill na tinutukoy na may magkakaibang pang-uri sa bawat dulo.
So, good day everyone. I am Viami Garcia. So, this is the continuation of Ms. Gregorio topic. So, another assessment tools which are used to assess the behavior, interests, motivation, and self-efficacy of the students is we have the Thurstone scale. So, take note that this scale was developed by Robert Thurstone. So, Thurstone scale is used to measure our respondents' attitude by using agree, disagree statements of a various weights. So, by these statements, it is much easier to determine not only on the feelings of the respondents but also on how they strongly they feel that way, and also by measuring the attitude with the Thurstone scale, it is easier to figure out those sentiments or opinions of the respondents with greater accuracy. Next, we have the Likert scale. So the Likert scale, it is a rating scale that used to assess the opinions, attitude, or behavior of the respondents. So it has a similarities between Likert and semantic because they offer two answer option, but the difference is Likert scale, you rate a specific statement that refers to a particular topic, while the semantic differential scale will let you to rate the topic itself. And the last assessment tools is we have the checklist. So checklists are the most common, perhaps the easiest instrument that used to assess the affective domain of the respondents. So it consists of simple items that the students or teacher mark as absent or present. So checking of attendance will also help you to assess the affective domain of your students. So those are the development of assessment tools. So why is it that assessment of affective domain is important? So we all know that every student has a different set. So by assessing the affective domain of your children will help you to understand their behavior, since their behavior is often affected by their attitude. So this will also help you to plan on what activities you are going to use in order to develop their values. So assessment of affective domain will also guide you on what should be your learning objectives. Motivation is also important so that your students will pay attention in your class, encourage learning things, ideas, and developing skills, exert effort to achieve something, and to be a competitive learner. So it is really important that the teacher should motivate their students in order for them to become an active and productive student. You should also let your students evaluate themselves. What are their likes and dislikes? This will be your guide on what techniques or methods you are going to use to enable them to learn your lesson even if they dislike it. So for example, a child doesn't like math subject. So as a teacher, you are going to think strategies that the students will pay attention and participate in your class, because it has a big possibility that evaluation might change based on your effectiveness in teaching. So even their behavior can be affected and changed into a positive one. So that's the end of our report. Thank you everyone for listening.